Hey, how you guys doing? Glad you're still with the class. I know in these difficult times it's a little rough. I hope you're all working. I hope you're all safe, and I hope you're all definitely healthy. Today is April 15th, and we're going to go over just a few things, some safety topic stuff, things that you need to do in order to be safe. First off, I don't have any stuffed animals or anything to talk to, so I'm really going to try to just talk to you guys by looking at the screen. It's definitely strange. It's really weird. Um, First off, let's talk about the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA. They came about in 1971. That was Nixon. Nixon created OSHA for the workers to maintain uh, self, a safe working environment. He also created the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. Not sure if you knew that or not, but anyways, aside from that, OSHA's there to make sure that the job sites and workplace is safe. In order, in order for a job site to be safe, you have to have what's called a competent person on site, and you have to go through an OSHA training course to be actually deemed competent. And a competent person is somebody who actually went through the training, got certified. There are two different levels of competency. There's the OSHA 10 hour and the OSHA 30 hour. It's 30 hour? 40? 30 hour. Uh, Obviously, the 10 hour takes 10 hours to get the certification. There are a couple of different things that can occur on a job site that create incidents or accidents, rather. You have an unsafe act and you have an unsafe condition. Unsafe act is something like not wearing proper personal protective equipment or PPE. Like you take your hard hat off, and then all of a sudden you walk into an I-beam, or you're not wearing your safety glasses, not wearing steel-toed boots. These are all examples. Also, while working, with say like a grinder or a skill saw, you remove the guard or pin the guard back. That's an unsafe act. Um, Horseplay, that's an unsafe act, which kind of sucks because everybody likes to have a good time on a job, but you got to look at the situation um, and realize that anything harmless can actually be um, harmful. As an example, one of the things that guys like to do a lot is carry their tools in their buckets. I've seen instances where other guys have actually screwed the bucket into the floor. So when a guy comes over to pull and pick up the bucket, he can't. So what possible injury can result from something like that? Well, if you bend over to pull up the bucket, you can end up wrenching your back if it's screwed to the ground. So these things can happen. I remember one time, a unfortunately this didn't result into an injury, but one of my coworkers, he was actually small enough to fit inside a tool container or gang box. He he hid inside the gang box in the morning and waited for somebody to open it, and then he'd jump out and scare the hell out of them. The problem with that is, what if he jumped out to scare the guy and the guy slammed the door shut? It would have ended up hitting him square in the head. So that's kind of an unsafe act, and hopefully you realize that. uh, Lifting improperly, that's an unsafe act. There's a proper method to actually lift a box. I mean, you can actually hurt your back by just bending over and picking up a pencil. I personally, within the last 2 months, I was carrying something and actually I was carrying, and instead of lifting and picking up, I was setting down. And in the process of setting down, I ended up pulling my knee, not necessarily my back. And it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. So injuries can happen in the most mundane action. There are also unsafe conditions. And an example of an unsafe condition would be crap strewn all over the floor. All over the floor. Like pieces of pipe, pieces of all thread. You walk in and you step on one of those things, and you're going to roll all over the place, and you're going to fall, and you're going to hurt yourself. Also, poor breathing conditions, like non-ventilated area or poor air quality. Poor lighting. Poor lighting is another example. Now, it used to be in new construction. They used to have task lighting. In other words, they'd have stringers of lights going all over the place, and that was adequate. And now what they've done is they've kind of deviated away from that, where the general contractor was responsible for proper lighting and task lighting, and put it on the responsibility of the subcontractor. So now a lot of people, they have their hard hats and they wear the dome lights and walk around with that, and they carry their own cordless battery powered lighting. Matter of fact, hang on a second. This one, now, yes, it is Milwaukee, and you guys know how I like Milwaukee. So this lighting, and I might just flash it for a second. See, it's bright, very, very bright. Like, you want me to blind you again? Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, it's very bright, and one battery, 18-volt battery. This thing will last almost all day. So I was checking to see if I could use it for lighting in here, but it's still daylight out, so I'm getting natural lighting. Let's see, what else is there as far as an unsafe condition? You know what? One of your assignments tonight, you can actually email me an example of an unsafe condition that you have seen or will see. Go out, go to work, go outside, walk around your house, find an unsafe condition and let me know what it is. Let me know what you find. And if you can find an unsafe act, that'd be even better too. Or if you've seen one before and it strikes a chord in your memory, that'd be fine. So yeah, let's try working on that as an assignment. Personal protective equipment. Obviously, you need a hard hat if you're working out. Actually, you know what? Even in residential construction, you need a hard hat. Even in service and repair, there are times when a hard hat is required. So yeah, you definitely would want a hard hat. Eye protection. You've got to protect your eyes. Now, even with eye protection, if you're not wearing it properly, or even if you are, there are instances where you can actually injure your eye. It's very important that you do not lose sight of wearing eye protection, and that was pun intended. So I have on my right eye, right here, in my right eye, I had a piece of metal, this little tiny one, hit me in the eye while I was grinding. And the one thing you want to do if you get an eye injury is actually wash it out. You have to wash it out. If you don't wash it out and you start rubbing, like if you just rub like this, what it'll actually do is it'll take that piece of metal or wood or any type of debris, whatever debris it is, it will actually embed it into your lens. And that's exactly what happened to me. And I knew better. I mean, I have been teaching this for years, and this happened maybe 6-7 years ago. I got it in my eye, ended up being right in the middle of my pupil, and I thought I had gotten it out, but it started to irritate and fester, and it really started to hurt a lot. So I went into an optometrist, and he sent me to a specialist, and the specialist actually had to take a little tiny, like a ice cream scoop, and he literally just scraped it out and dug out the metal and the rust that had actually started to collect in there. And now on my right side, I have a permanent fog right down the middle of my eye. Kind of sucks because my eyesight sucks to begin with, and so that just makes it that much better. Uh, so yeah, eye protection is pretty important, and it's got to be impact resistant. My glasses are prescription, and I made sure they were impact resistant. So if I'm at work and if I'm doing anything that warrants wearing eye protection, all I have to do is put side guards on right here. Excuse me, and then I can get right back to work. Gloves. Gloves are really important to wear. We do a lot of stuff that will actually cut your hands and cut them. We sharp tools, piping that's not properly reamed. That's extremely sharp. It's like razor sharp. I've got plenty of scars on my fingers for that. But it's important that you wear the right kind of glove. Obviously, you're not going to wear welding gloves to do light duty, carpentry work or anything like that. But if you're like soldering, you want to make sure you wear natural fibers like cotton or leather. You don't want to wear those flex tough ones that are synthetic, because what will end up happening is when the solder drips, and believe me, solder will drip, if it lands on the back of your hand and it's a synthetic fiber, it's not rolling off. It's going to stick and melt, and it's going to burn the top of your hand. This is speaking from experience. One of the first times I used that stuff, right when those Flex Tough gloves came out, I put them on and everybody thought they were great and they were awesome. But man, the second you drop like hot flux or hot solder, anything hot on it, man, oh my God, it burned. It hurt. So yeah, wear the right kind of gloves. And make sure that they're easy enough to get off. You don't want something that's so tight fitting that you can't get it off. Okay, but you don't want it extra loose to where it just falls right off. It's got to be a perfect fit. I mean, obviously for me, my hands are enormous. I have to wear XX gloves, and my extra large ones are too tight. They won't fit. You can't operate your fingers properly if you can't open them as wide as you can, or as you should. So you definitely got to wear the right kind of glove. Boots, steel-toed boots, composite-toed boots. Let me put it to you this way. You're not going to wear something like this. This is a dress shoe. You're not going to wear this in construction. You're not going to wear this to plumbing. You shouldn't. Everybody says that, everybody that doesn't have steel-toed boots, they don't put on steel-toed boots because they say it's uncomfortable or it's too heavy. They've ran tests. They've done plenty of research, and they say if something heavy falls on it, it's going to slice your toe off. Okay, well, let's look at it that way. If something that heavy is able to slice your toe because it bends the steel-toed boot down enough to actually do that, you can sew that back on. Something that heavy without steel-toed boots, there's no toe left. Okay, it's mush, it's jelly, it's jam, it's gross, it's gone. So yeah, I don't buy into that argument. Find a pair that fits you. Don't go to Walmart, don't go to Target and buy like the cheapest pair of work boots you can find. Spend the money, buy a pair that actually fits, that is comfortable, because you are going to be in those boots for 8 hours a day, sometimes more. Most of your day is going to be spent wearing those boots, standing in them and working. So yeah, you should pick one that just really fits and really fits well. They got Red Wings. People swear by them. I can't wear Red Wings. They're not comfortable for me. Diehards. Keen. I like Georgia Giants have worked well for me, but Wolverines work best for me. They're the most comfortable for me. DuraShock works well for me. And like I said, you just got to pick the right boot that fits you and your needs. Ear protection. Make sure you have ear protection where you need it, okay? we work around equipment all day long. If I wish I'd have worn ear protection when I was supposed to. My hearing, I'm 46, going on 47, and my hearing sucks. And obviously my memory does too, because I can't even remember how old I am. Fall protection is required whenever you work above 6 feet. And that's a harness. You put the harness on, and you got a little chest guard here, and it wraps around your inner thigh. You don't want it to be too loose. You don't want it to be too tight, and it has to be worn properly. And if you're going to do anything that requires fall protection, you have to be trained. And one of the things that we were going to do in Plumbing 1 was actually get you some type of a fall protection awareness. It just didn't pan out. Sorry, apologize for that. There'll be next semester in the fall. I'll just implement and slip sheet a bunch of that stuff into the code class. It's fine. You will get the certifications that I promised you in everything. Respirators, obviously we know what those are for, especially right now. Everybody's out there in masks and all kinds of good stuff. So I would teach this video with a mask on, but I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm actually not in a classroom. I'm at home with a sheet behind me. So there's different types of respirators out there for different types of situations. Safety data sheets. A safety data sheet I'm actually going to attach onto the email that you guys are going to be getting tonight. A safety data sheet is something that lists all the different safety procedures for any kind of material that we use or product that we use. So if we ingest it or if we get it on our skin, is it caustic? Is it flammable? It goes through the entire list of all that stuff. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to send you that email and an attachment. Clothing. I know the stereotypical vision of a plumber is the butt crack and all that stuff. And I think I might have already talked about this a couple of times in class when we actually did have a class. Wear a belt. Wear clothes that are comfortable enough, but not so loose that they're dropping around your freaking knees, because that's not safe. That's not safe work clothing. Okay? The shirts should be obviously comfortable, breathable, and again, not so loose to where they get bound up in machinery. As an example, a pipe threading machine has the winding that spins, and the pipe actually spins. Well, the pipe threader, if you're operating it, there should be a foot pedal where you actually, it's like an accelerator, you press on it, it turns on, remove your foot. It's a safety device. It's a kill switch. You remove the foot, the rotation stops. I don't remember if I told you guys a story or not, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell it to you again. We were on a job. The sprinkler fitters, the guys who put in the fire sprinklers, they use pipe threading machines all the time. So there was this kid. He was using the pipe threader. They didn't have the foot pedal. Okay, so they had just a switch on off. And they were always wearing their cardigan sweaters and everything like that. Well, he got his shirt bound up in the pipe, and so he was rotating, and he was flipping, and he was the pipe. Thank God, the pipe machine was actually anchored to the ground. If it wasn't anchored to the ground, he would have been flipping, and the machine would have been flipping, and he would have really gotten hurt. Fortunately for him, he didn't get injured. Got beat up a little bit, but I mean, not like injured. So, hang on a second. I got a water. Hang on. I'm back. So yeah, clothing. You got to make sure you wear the proper clothing. If not, you're going to get hurt, or you can get hurt. I had one plumbing apprentice. She had a drill, and she was just goofing off. Again, this goes to horseplay, and she stuck the drill with a bit up against my shirt and pulled the trigger, and it bound up my shirt and tightened it up. I was so mad. I was incensed at her for doing that, but she apologized, but ripped up my shirt. If it was a looser shirt, it probably would have been even worse. So, fortunately, nothing happened there. That's pretty much it for proper personal protective equipment that I can think of. Don't wear loose chains. The last thing you want to do is, bend over something and your chain comes hanging down, and that's not good. Jewelry, good story. Wedding ring. Delivery guy on a panel truck. He would deliver to the job all day. Every day he would be there. He'd deliver. And then he was gone for a couple weeks. And then he came back, and I figured since he was gone, maybe he was on vacation or something. So I said, "Hey, good to see you. It's been a couple weeks. Where'd you go for vacation?" He's like, "I didn't go on vacation." He was wearing gloves. I said, "Well, where were you?" And he put up his hand, and he did this. And then he took this and bent back, and it just bent all the way back. Because the glove that he was wearing, there was nothing here. What he had done was he jumped off, as he did every day. He would jump off that truck, jump off that panel truck, and he put his hand up on the rail on the top of the panel, and the ring got stuck on the edge. And when he jumped, obviously you can see how it's pushing right here? Well, when you push and all your weight is pretty much on that little joint, it peeled everything down to the bone. Took the skin, muscles, tendons, everything, all the way down to the bone. Couldn't save it, had to cut his finger off. So, take your wedding ring off, take whatever jewelry you have off if you're going to be doing anything where it might catch. Hazards. You have different tapes. You see the red tape, obviously a police line, you don't want to cross that, but it's not what we're talking about. We're talking about work. Caution tape. Caution tape is yellow, which means, hey, something's on the other side of this. You might want to be aware. If somebody's around, why don't you ask them, find out what it is. You can cross the tape, but just be aware. Then there's the red tape, which is actually danger tape. Red tape is supposed to be no pass. You can't get in. Don't even bother crossing the red tape unless you have business being back there. It's like falling debris, falling stuff. Maybe some steel workers are working overhead or something, You don't want to go in there. One of the things that a lot of people will do is they'll use caution tape in a dangerous situation because they don't have the danger tape. And they think it's okay. Well, not really. If you don't have the danger tape, then you need to have somebody posted there saying you can't come across. Even if you have caution tape up, which you shouldn't, you should have somebody there telling you cannot enter, do not enter, put signs, post signs, do whatever you got to do. You don't want somebody walking in there, okay? Same thing goes with a cautionary. If you put danger tape up for a caution area, it's not as severe. Obviously, you're blocking it off. Nobody should be crossing over. So, and then there's also the yellow and purple tape, which is radiation. There are instances on a job site where we will actually use radiation, like X-rays. Okay, because we're going to be maybe X-raying a wall or something to see what's in it. So usually if something like that occurs, they put danger tape up instead of yellow and purple. So anyways, there's a few things for you to think about. And I'm still waiting on some resumes. So I need to get some more of your input on those. I need your resumes. I will actually have something else attached to tonight's email. I should give you guys a quiz, but the district, if anybody, which is going to be strange to say this because if you don't have a laptop, you're probably not seeing this, but the district is offering laptops to students who don't have them. So I'll be putting that in the email as well. Contact the ECC and they might be able to get you hooked up with a laptop until the end of the semester. Just signed on for a Plumbing 2 class for the summer. It's online only. I'm going to offer it to you guys. I'd rather you wait until the fall because then we can do everything in class. And like I said, I want to give you your certifications. I want you to get certified in the stuff that we were going to do. So, but if you don't care about the certifications and you want to take the code class during the summer so you can get everything wrapped up and done before the end of the year, and then you're more than welcome to sign into the Plumbing 2 class. I'll give you some more information as time comes on. If there are any questions, write a comment on the video. Subscribe to my page. It'll be easier for you to actually hook up on these videos. You will all be the Plumbing 1 videos. You can look at the Plumbing 3 ones if you want. I did a video yesterday for the first time. It's like less than 3 minutes and it's horrible. It's a horrendous video. It sucks. Not to say that this one's that much better, but you know, as time goes on, these videos might get better. Like, you know, giving you demonstrations and all kinds of stuff. I may even invest into some kind of a camera, like a GoPro camera or something. I don't know. I'll have to talk to my youngest son. He's kind of savvy on stuff like that. All right. Well, like I said, subscribe to the channel. It's BG's plumbing class. You know, BG, capital B, capital G, apostrophe S. And make comments on the video. Questions, anything like that, then I can reply to those comments. So I guess that's pretty much it. Again, thank you so much for still being interested enough in the class to answer my emails. I appreciate that. And please get me those resumes. That's it. I'll see you guys next week.